Hi everyone, Silvio here. I've read some more Wheel of Time, so you know what that means. It's time for opinions and questions from a clueless person who have never read Wheel of Time before. Now, for starters, I think that book is actually shaping up now. I've said this before that I've noticed a lot of retreads from Tolkien, but I'm fine with that. But, however, things like separating the party, which is a classic move, I think, but it is a good move in my opinion because it creates tension. It's not forced tension. It's a tension born out of a situation that was beyond the character's control. So we have a party, they've broken up. Also, I think Jordan made a very smart thing where it would be easy to separate parties into to separate the party into people, to pair off people with, I guess, characters who usually get along or who do not have clashing personalities, and that would be an easy way out. But some would say it would be obvious, or a tired trope of pairing two people with clashing personalities, but by pairing off Moraine and Nynaeve, I think that was a good move. And pairing off Egwene and Perrin is also good because I think that the first opening after the chapter 20, I think, where get some of the point of view from Perrin, where he is kind of examining his surroundings, and it gives kind of a point of view from him that we have not had before, and I really like him as a character because, yes, he is one of the characters that they have this stereotypical air about them of a person with a hidden depth. Everyone looks at him, oh, you see, this is a huge giant oaf of a character, this very physically imposing, very strong, some might say even slow character, but we see that this is a person who is not impulsive. He's the polar opposite of Matt, our resident Bart Simpson in the Wheel of Time universe, at least for now, who isn't anything like his friend Perrin. Perrin is someone who thinks before they act, someone who he's a very self-aware character. With his interactions with Egwene, he's like, yes, I can see that Egwene's personality is very dominant one, but he still thinks that he should take responsibility and protect both of them and kind of find a solution to their situation. So, yeah. I would have liked for Rand and Matt to be separated, but I understand why. Because they were paired off with the Gleeman. And Thom, the Gleeman, is... he's still kind of an ambiguous character. He is a figure who is well-traveled. He's seemingly someone who the boys look up to in some respects. They seek and value his opinions and advice. So it is a good thing that when they were separated from Moraine and others, Rand and Matt are stuck, quote unquote stuck, with someone who we, or I as an audience, I have a feeling that maybe this person isn't too trustworthy. He haven't done anything to point out that he has any kind of ill intent, but I as a reader have this feeling that maybe his intentions aren't as pure. One other thing, I really appreciated Nynaeve being on her own before meeting Moraine. That was also a good character piece. Also, her interaction with Nynaeve was interesting because from a character development perspective, we know that Nynaeve is this very strong-willed, very unwavering person, someone who is not only a sort of a leader and authoritative voice, but even though she's young, she is very capable, she's very competent, she's also highly opinionated, very quick to, she goes from 0 to 100 very quickly. And to witness this moment of vulnerability between her and Moraine, where Moraine kind of I think that dismounts her is a very inappropriate way to tell it. She kind of manages to get through her, through the barriers Nynaeve puts on, and she points out to Nynaeve that she is not that too far off from being a Aes Sedai herself, that Nynaeve has great potential to be an Aes Sedai, a magic user. And more importantly, she points out to Nynaeve that you, Nynaeve, already know this. I am telling you something that you already know, but you have learned to control it to an extent because you're so strong-willed, but you're also afraid of it. And you do know that the things you can do come from the same place that the things I do. Now, Moraine doesn't say it, but it is obvious that they are more alike than Nynaeve would like to admit. And then there was this moment of vulnerability where Nynaeve says, please don't talk about this to anyone else. But also, something I said in I think in the first video when I started this read-along, I can see some of the character traits that make her so disliked in the fandom. The way she describes her anger towards the Lan, toward his demeanor, how calm he is, how he doesn't give her any kind of satisfaction when he fails in his searches. There's this spitefulness to her, very pronounced spitefulness, that I still don't know where it's coming from. Like, I can understand her behavior in the village because she's surrounded by morons, by men who talked down to her by men who try to undermine her authority, where she is the town healer. She is the one who can predict when the crops will be good or not, how the weather will be. She's an important and very valuable member of her microcosm in the village. But here, it's like, is this just a consequence of her being so used to people not appreciating her, or I don't know. It's weird. Where does this spitefulness come from? Where I'm not saying that she should mellow out. I mean, that's her character. She is this very hawkish character. That's fine. But what's the reason behind her behavior? One of the moments I also like that, of course, this was set up. Of course it was. And I knew that at some point it's going to be addressed, but still fun. The coins that Moraine gave to the boys, they are some kind of a magical tracking device, which of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? So, in this whole thing with interaction between those two, I like how Moraine is still sympathetic towards Nynaeve. While Nynaeve she has a moment of vulnerability, but she kind of recovers quickly from it and returns to her old spiteful self. But through their interaction, Moraine is always kind towards her, empathetic. She kind of understands her. Now, what happens next? Well, not much. I didn't find, honestly, the sections that are the kind of POV characters, mini POV characters, however you want to call them, chapters, not characters, sorry, with the boat and so since the group was separated, we know that Perrin and Egwene found each other and they form a small subgroup. Then we have Nynaeve, Lan, and Moraine as the second group, and the third group is Thom the Gleeman and Rand and Mat. Rand and Mat escaped on a raft, a boat of some kind, a river boat, where they were escaping from the Trollocs, and they convinced the captain to take them in. And I didn't find that section all that interesting, except for the part where Mat was being annoying again when they encountered this famed metallic tower that looms in the distance. And Mat's first reaction, even though I think hardly a day passed from their encounter in the spooky city, which was his doing because he was looking for treasure in a spooky city with a spooky undead figure. So he should have learned his lesson back then, right? Because he didn't. His first impulse when he sees and asks about this miraculous metallic tower is, oh, I'm sure there's treasure in it, because why would someone build such a structure if they're not guarding anything? Because you're saying that there are no visible entrances to it and blah blah blah. Dude, you almost died because of your, I don't know what it was. I don't think it was greed. I think it was just your wool-headedness. Call of the Adventure is fine and dandy, but you're just being... I understand being impulsive. I understand being very young. He is very young. I understand being curious and adventurous, but your last attempt at adventure almost got you and your best friends killed. So maybe tone it down a little, will you? So yeah, I think my favorite of the three groups was Perrin and Egwene's interaction in the woods, because we can see that they are just unprepared for the journey in front of them. Not in a way that they're incompetent, but yeah, they are a bit. It's that we know them as the kind of a side characters, because from the start, as you read, a kind of a main cast, and they are members of the main cast, but they're not the driving characters of the main cast. The driving characters are Rand and Moraine, and to a lesser extent, I suppose the Nynaeve, but not them, not Perrin and Egwene. And I like their interaction in the woods. I like their survival in the woods. And it is a short chapter, but I thought it was really tight. I think it was chapter 22. Because they are over their heads, because they can only rely on each other. They don't have a strong mentor figure, because the other two groups have a mentor figure. The Gleeman, as much as I don't trust him, he's an experienced character and an experienced traveler, and the boys can look up to him with advice. And same goes to it. Nynaeve is a very capable character on her own, but she also hasn't been out of the village all that much. She hasn't seen the world as much as the Aes Sedai Moraine did, or Lan did. If Egwene and Perrin had Lan at their side, they'd be perfectly safe. They'd probably be in very good hands, but they're not. So they stumble upon this other character, Elias. And Elias reminded me of a character from not Lord of the Rings, from The Hobbit. He kind of gave me some Bjorn vibes from The Hobbit. He's not a shapeshifter per se, at least I don't think he is at this point, but he is this character that lives in the wilderness. He doesn't like humans. He has this wolf pack that he lives with. He calls them his friends, and he invites Perrin and Egwene to have a meal. He shares a meal with them because they're starving, and it is one of the things that's kind of neat, that naturally the assumption is that he's the leader of the wolf pack, but he's not. He's a member of the wolf pack. That's a nice thing. So we also kind of get a bit of a lore reinforcement, if you want to call it that way, because he is one of the few who has escaped from being hunted by, what was the name of the organization that hunts people who have potential magical power? But doesn't matter. What matters is wolves' names. It was Dapple, Burn, Hoppler, and Wind. Those are great names, great wolf names. If I had a puppy, I'd call him Dapple. Dapple is a great name. Burn is also a great name, but So his backstory is interesting. The kind of interplay, the dynamic between Perrin and Egwene is also neat, because Egwene is being kind of I don't know, she's kind of being a hothead here, answering on Perrin's behalf, and Perrin did have a retort towards her. He was like, yeah, this is all nice and dandy, we will join you, and isn't it nice when we discuss our opinions first before we come up with a decision? And Egwene just glares at him, and I'm like, yes, Perrin, you tell her, because, you know, she's not being nice at this point. So yeah, I'm not saying that I'm dreading Matt chapters, but I'm kind of tired-ish with him. So yeah, again, we're after this brief and fun chapter with the wild man, Elias, we're back to the boat with the boys, and Matt is again annoying, but life on the ship is fun. The description of life on the ship is fun, and it's well done. One thing though, I think there's this Robert Jordan keeps reinforcing through the book, is the concept of names having power. Now that's a very old, it's not even a fantasy trope, it's something that's been taken from mythology. I mean, from, you know, He Who Must Not Be Named to the Dark One here. I've never been all that enamored with that trope. It's like things have this one true name, and if you know this one true name, you have power over this thing or a person, or this Dark Lord, we only use his title and not his real name because, I don't know, magical NSA will find us. It's whatever. I understand it's a taboo. Taboos are actually fun contributions to the lore of a fantasy novel, but yeah, not a fan. So yeah, see you next time. Thank you for watching. I am enjoying this, and I will probably spend the whole weekend reading the rest of the novel. Also, I will be doing a few new videos. I will be doing a video that I wanted to do for a long time, which is best fantasy and or science fiction novel names, which is, I guess, an odd idea for a video, but I wanted to do it for a long time. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.